I hate intros, Chihayafuru Season 2. We kick things off with the new school year and the introduction of Sumire Hanano, who just got dumped and is desperate to find a new guy. She's thirsty as fuck for Taichi, so she's creeping and trying to get close to him. In Season 1, we learn that the Karate Club is in jeopardy of losing their club room, so they're trying to find new members to retain it. They have a bunch of new applicants, so they have to go through it and weed out the ones who aren't that serious. Sumire is among the applicants because she's trying to get close to Taichi. Chihaya teaches the first years the basics, while Taichi goes to practice at Harada Society with his sights set on reaching Class A. Sumire ditches practice to go talk to him, and she falls even more in love with him. Episode 2. Sumire secretly follows Taichi to the society where she starts to learn more about the game. The next practice with the first years that Chihaya is teaching is a lot smaller thanks to her smashing them in their first practice. By the third practice, there's only one guy left named Tsukuba, but Sumire shows up also, which raises their spirits a bit. However, upon talking to her, Chihaya and Oe learn that she isn't taking karate that seriously, she is just there for Taichi. We learn that Tsukuba is really good at second verse karate, where the reader skips the first verse, and his team never loses competitions. Some of his skills transfer over to normal karate, but for the most part, he's still pretty new. While practicing, Chihaya tries convincing Sumire to cut her nails so that nobody gets hurt. Sumire tries reiterating the fact that she isn't taking karate that seriously, but accidentally lets it slip that she's just there for Taichi. She takes off crying and embarrassed, but Taichi doesn't really care because we all know he's super whipped for Chihaya. Oe convinces her to come back, and she decides to take karate slightly more seriously, so she cuts her nails while also studying and memorizing the poems. Episode 3. We get our first look at our boy Arata, who finishes second in a Class A tournament with over 100 people competing, losing only to his senior at their society, Shinichi Murao. We also learn that him and all the other characters have their eyes set on the national high school competition that's coming up again this year. Jump ahead to the high school nationals qualifiers where Misazawa goes against Shuriken Academy for their first match. They plan out who's going to be playing, and Komono offers to sit out the first game so that Sumire can play. For the second round, they're planning on benching Oe for Tsukuba so that he can get in West High's head with his signature rape smile. This allows them to easily win the first round, and while that's going on, Miyauchi covers for the club not getting 5 new members, meaning that they can keep the club room for now. In the second round against West High, Tsukuba busts out all of his mental warfare tactics, and even though he loses his match, they still take the series, advancing further. In the last scene, Shinobu gets the news that Arata is playing again, and it appears they have some sort of history. Episode 4. For the third round of the qualifiers, they play against Homei High School, who are being coached by Subaguchi. You might remember him from Season 1 as the Eastern representative in the Meijin Queen qualifiers. Taichi is struggling during the match and falls behind while doubting his abilities. Thanks to some advice from Harada, as well as some moral support from Chihaya, he is able to bring the match back, and they win, advancing to the finals. Just like last year's high school qualifiers, they are up against Hoku Academy. Episode 5. These qualifiers are different in the sense that the winner and the runner-up get to go to nationals, but both teams are still determined to win. Before Hokuo's matchups, Hito is known for his tarot card readings to perfectly predict their opponent's lineup, allowing them to choose favorable matchups. However, Hito goes behind his team's back and makes the matchups even to prove that they can win in a straight-up match. Sudo, who used to be in Hoku Academy, shows up to be the reader for the finals. Once the matches get underway, Nishita gets demolished and is the first one out. Chihaya starts to fall behind because she is teaching herself how to integrate the accuracy she observed from Shinobu's playstyle, as well as the ability to hear multi-syllable cards like Suo does, combining their strengths. Episode 6. The finals end up being extremely close, with the last 4 matches coming down to 1 card sudden death. Hokuo split their cards, basically guaranteeing their win, but Taichi and Chihaya practice aggressive swings, which gets in their head. Hito ends up making a fault, losing his match to Taichi, and now the match isn't guaranteed anymore. When the last card is read, Nayuta and Chihaya get to the card at the same time, meaning the victory goes to Hokuo because it was on their side. In the last scene, Tsukuba and his brothers, along with Sumire, join Chihaya's Karate Society to be taught by Harada. Episode 7. This episode is pretty filler-esque, with the Karate Club allowing the concert band to use the floor above them as storage instead of giving up their room. They return the favor by playing the school's anthem and wishing them good luck at nationals. Now we jump ahead to the start of the high school nationals being held at Omi Shrine again. Episode 8. For their first match, they're placed against a bunch of foreigners. Meanwhile, Sumire and Komono go to scout the other threats in the tournament since they aren't playing. Sumire watches Megumi Osaka, who was the Western rep for the Queen qualifiers but lost to Yumi representing Eastern Japan. Back to the match, the foreigners play karate very differently than what everybody is used to, but they aren't about to lose to some uncultured foreign swine, so they smash them and advance to the next round. In the last scene, Arata arrives at the shrine where he is greeted by Shinobu. Episode 9. Shinobu is back to being hot after she loses the weight she put on in season 1. We learn that her and Arata used to play against each other a lot when they were kids, and Arata would kill her like everybody else he faced. He later runs into an old acquaintance who's in a bit of a pinch. They are short a player after he got stuck in traffic, so they guilt trip Arata into being their stand-in. However, this is against the rules, so he has to take off his glasses and wear a face mask. He ends up falling behind since he can't see and feels bad for the team because they are losing, so he decides to get serious. Clawing his way back from a 15-card deficit, he goes on to win his match. However, his old instructor had recognized him, and since they were caught breaking the rules, there's a possibility that he won't be allowed to participate in the individual tournament. Episode 10. Misazawa's third match is against Yamaguchi Myoka, a well-known school whose team is full of intellectuals trying to get better for their quiz team. They also have an unorthodox style of constantly moving their cards around, playing to their strong memory. Back over to Arata, who is waiting around to hear what the officials decide his punishment should be. This cues the entrance of Shinobu, who hears that he might not be able to play. She wants to play against him, so she steps in, saying that if he can't play, then she refuses to play and pleads with the officials to change his punishment. Meanwhile, with the majority of the players being able to play around the memory tactics, Chihaya and the others pull ahead to win that match also. Episode 11. The next match is against Shoyo High, where Kamino is benched again because he had been taking notes on the other teams all day, so he's exhausted. These notes pay off though, as the others were struggling, but then remember some of the advice he gave them about how Shoyo play, allowing them to get an edge and win. Back over to Arata, whose punishment is changed thanks to Shinobu. He instead has to write an essay apologizing for his actions, and he isn't allowed to go cheer for Chihaya and Taichi. Now the others have to prepare for the semifinals against Akashi First Girls Academy, which is the team the Western rep Megumi Osaka is on. The girls team play in the same order and only change if they are against a strong opponent. Not feeling threatened by Misazawa, they keep their order where Chihaya goes against their ace Osaka. Episode 12. As the semis are about to get underway, Hokuo is also going against the defending champions Fujisaki High. The match starts and Chihaya notices right away that Osaka had improved since her loss to Yumi, and we get some flashbacks of her working hard after the defeat. Chihaya falls behind initially, and Oe notices, so she passes along some positive vibes, which inspires Chihaya to fight back. Episode 13. Despite Chihaya trying to rally, it's not that simple, as Osaka keeps abnormally calm and collected, increasing her lead. Chihaya comes to the conclusion where Osaka is like her, but without a good teacher, whereas she has Harada. Both teams fight for momentum, but neither give ground, and with Chihaya starting to fight back, Osaka starts to get a little bit more intense. Episode 14. Everybody was so caught up in Misazawa's match that they didn't notice Hokuo Academy getting slaughtered by Fujisaki, which ends in a 4-1 victory. Surprise, surprise, Nishita is the first one to fall in his match, bringing the score to 1-0. Osaka starts to gain more momentum and seems to be getting faster, even taking the Chihayafuru card. Chihaya does her best to keep it close, but she ends up losing to Osaka. Oe and Taichi manage to win their matches, making the score 2-2. Now all eyes are on Kamino in a sudden death round. He goes on to win the last card, securing their spot in the finals against Fujisaki. Episode 15. Before the finals, it's revealed that in the semis, Oe had jammed her finger and it's gotten really swollen. To prevent it from getting worse, she sits the finals out and Tsukuba has to take her spot. Fujisaki makes some last minute changes to their lineup, subbing in a girl named Rion Yamashiro, who gets placed up against Chihaya. Shinobu is curious as to why Arata wants to go watch the team so badly, so she decides to stop in and watch. Episode 16 is like season 1 and a recap episode. Episode 17. As the finals get underway, we learn that Rion has an advantage because her grandmother is one of the certified readers. For some players like Suo, the reader makes a massive difference, so Rion is able to play really well with certain readers. Chihaya goes for a card that is defended by Rion, and even though it doesn't seem to be injured, she is still feeling pain in her index finger. Shinobu, who had initially forgotten about Chihaya and their match last year, remembers her after seeing her speed with some of the cards. The other 4 pick up on the fact that Chihaya is hurting, which makes them all the more determined to step up their game for the win. Episode 18. Everybody is losing with Chihaya down 6 cards, Nishita down 3, Taichi down 4, and both Tsukuba and Komono down 7. Even though they're behind, they try fighting back, but Komono is the first one to lose his match. We get a short flashback of how Shinobu was forced to play alone so she could get better, which is why she thinks team competitions are pointless. Tsukuba is the next one to lose, bringing it to match point, while Chihaya's finger seems to be getting worse. Episode 19. After being behind the whole game, Taichi is able to even things out after his opponent makes a double fault. Despite her injury, Chihaya goes on to win her match, making the score 2-1. It's now up to Taichi and Nishita, who both end up in another sudden death. Having learned from their mistake in the last sudden death against Hoku Academy, they are the ones to synchronize their cards this time. Thanks to their planning, the card red is on their side, allowing them to easily secure the match, making them the national high school champions. Episode 20. Arata meets up with them after the match, and later Chihaya has to go to get her finger looked at while Arata is left alone with Taichi. He tells Taichi that he is planning on going to college in Tokyo, so he's gonna be moving back soon. Over to Chihaya, where they aren't sure what's wrong with her finger, so they refer her to a bigger hospital while suggesting that she not play in the individual tournament. She still wants to compete, so she decides that she's gonna use her left hand to play. In the first round, she is against Yube Keko, who beat Nishita in the team match against Akashi First Girls School. When the match starts, Chihaya obviously falls behind from not being used to playing with her left hand. Episode 21. Arata and Shinobu both finish perfect games without losing a single card, so he goes to watch Chihaya. She has fallen pretty far behind, but realizes that her cards are set up for her right hand. She gets the idea to flip the positioning, and after doing this starts to make her comeback. She is able to pull the game back into reach and wins with a 2-card advantage. Nishita also made it through to the next round, but that joy is short-lived when he gets placed against Arata in the second round. Keep in mind that he lost to the girl who couldn't beat Chihaya using her left hand, so I don't think he's breaking Arata's OP plot armor anytime soon. The world is shocked as Arata wins, but this makes Nishita all the more determined to get better. Chihaya gets placed against Kanku Natsumi. We don't watch the match, but she manages to win again. For the third round, Chihaya gets her rematch against Shinobu, so she decides she's gonna play with her right hand despite her injury. Episode 22. Chihaya can't keep up with her injury, but she does manage to take Shinobu's best card as a consolation prize. In the end, she lost by 23 cards, being eliminated from the tournament. Afterwards, Shinobu is thinking back on her isolation when Chihaya approaches her, saying that they will play again in the Queen match. Over to Shirabe, who managed to win a couple of matches but was eliminated in the third round. Meanwhile, Taichi had made it all the way to the Class B semifinals, squaring off against Hito. Episode 23. In the semifinals of Class A, Shinobu is taking on Osaka, while Arata is against the Fujisaki High School captain Ryogo Emiro. Shinobu goes on to win by 14 cards, while Arata wins his match by 12 cards, advancing them both into the finals where they will finally face off against each other. Oue finds Chihaya and tells her that she lost in the Class C semis, but Komono made it to the finals. She also tells her about Taichi beating Hito, so he is in the Class B finals with his promotion to Class A on the line. Even though she wants to watch the Class A match, she decides that it's more important to support Taichi. He faces up against Rion in the finals, but is playing sloppy because he wants to finish fast so that Chihaya can go watch the Class A match. Rion can't match his stamina, and the reader was different, so she didn't have her normal edge. This costs her the match, and Taichi wins by 9 cards, securing his promotion to Class A. Episode 24. Turns out Tsukuba had made it to the Class D finals and ends up winning, but nobody noticed until he was on match point. Now we hop over to the Class A finals, where Arata has a lead over Shinobu. Nobody in the crowd can even tell who's winning the cards because of how close and fast they both are. Despite the high pressure, Arata keeps his cool demeanor and eventually pulls out the victory, giving the queen her first loss in years. After the match, he makes a comment about her having a fever, so she may not have been playing at full capacity, but it was still a close match. Episode 25. With Kamino winning the Class C finals also, they have all of the champions gather for the award ceremony. Following the tournament, Chihaya is referred to multiple hospitals who are all confused by her finger. After some tests, they finally come to the conclusion that it's enchondromatosis, which is part of the bone in her finger softening. Because she can't just ignore it, she plans to have an operation where they put some firm material inside the bone. After her surgery, Oe picks up on the fact that Chihaya might be falling for Arata, so she tells Taichi to try harder. Jump back a bit to before they left the tournament. The Fujisaki coach Midori Sakurazawa had recorded the Class A match and gave Chihaya a copy. Chihaya calls her to thank her again, and while on the phone, Sakurazawa invites her and the others to a Fujisaki 2-day karate camp. Of course she agrees to this, but Oe wingmans Taichi by making sure him and Chihaya are the only ones to go, which is where the season ends. I'm going to be doing the future seasons, and that'll be in the bottom left whenever I'm finished with it, or you can check out all the Chihayafuru recaps in this playlist here. You can also find the links in the description below, and the only thing I hate more than intros is outros.